listen, some of you guys were asking me, how come you don't do as much four-wheel drives? I saw this Jeep. I'm like, we're doing this first today. So this will be up. You'll see it. It's for Halloween, and that's a scary Jeep for Halloween right there. So.
And I may say, as soon as he's seen this and I watched him get out of his car, it was attracted right to him. So people enjoy it. There again, if there's any questions, ask him and
put them in the comments, and we're gonna post it. If you watch the video and you want to answer any of the comments, then it'll be up there for anybody to talk about. But you guys wanted some four-wheel drives. We've put a couple up. We just put the first generation Broncos up. This is a gorgeous Jeep. And Collins, eat your heart out, I found this one. And you had this, if you're up in Illinois, this had to be sitting in storage in a garage somewhere in dry storage?
In my shop up in Illinois for 30 years.
Okay.
Up on jack stands.
Okay, so yeah, so that is like a 99% survivor, and it could have been 100% if you just didn't want to put it on the road.
Right, exactly. Oh yeah, oh gosh, yeah. I mean, I could have sold that many times, but...
So welcome to another episode of Junkyards and Barn Finds with Sean, and I'm Sean. All right, guys, so we're gonna look at this Jeep. It's an off-road racer, and the guy who owns it has raced with Parnelli Jones and some other places and other people. So we're gonna go ahead and do this. It may rain. If it rains, we'll probably have to walk away from the vehicle just to talk for a little bit. And of course, they're playing super loud music because this is a Halloween car show. It's the Spooktacular down here in Southwest Florida. And so this is one of the most interesting vehicles here.
Getting wet.
So my name's Sean. How you doing?
Sean, I'm Bob.
And we're Junkyards and Barn Finds. And tell me a little bit about your... Actually, you know what? Let's go back here so I'm not hearing this music because I got to cover that up. Plus, we're going to get poured on in a second anyway. So we can go in here, under here. Because I'll just do the video over top.
That's fine.
Well, that worked out perfect. So tell me a little bit about the truck. Tell me a little bit about yourself with the racing.
Well, anyways, it's a 1976 CJ7, and I built that from scratch, doing the mud races through Wisconsin and Indiana and St. Louis and all that. We jumped up a notch and did the desert race out in Vegas called the Mint 400.
Okay.
And the first race I ran back in the 70s, I was running up against, or with, Parnelli Jones, Mickey Thompson, Walker Evans, and Mears, and that's started it. And I ran that for 4 years. Then the last race that ran, which I still have the tires, was the 500 Baja.
No, you don't.
That alone was a trip alone, but the excitement of even building that and going as far as I did with that, it was pretty exciting for me being a kid.
Well, wasn't there a lot of celebrities that ran that race too, like James Garner and a lot of those guys back at the day were into the desert racing, right?
Right. I don't think some of them are even alive.
Yeah, anyway. The ones that passed away now, but they back then when you were racing, they were all doing.
In fact, I was at Indy just this year, and they had Mears' truck that I ran against. His number was 301, mine was 308. And wow. I happened to see that because they just started the off-road segment of Mears, you know, from the Indy to off-road.
Right.
And that was pretty exciting.
So, have you always been in the Jeeps and off-road? Like, what's your background in that, or is that just something you started as a fluke?
It's something that I started with the Jeep Club back in Illinois, and it led to off-road ice racing first up in Wisconsin on the lakes up there, and then it went from off-road in the summertime and mud racing up in Lake Geneva and went to, in Wisconsin, and it blew up after that. It just kind of went from you know, we found out about the desert racing out in the Mint. You know, out in Vegas, it was called the Mint 400, and yeah, there's a lot of pride in that Jeep.
So tell me about, like, obviously it is nothing near stock. It's a stock car in NASCAR, obviously.
Well,
so tell me a little bit.
In order to make that street legal, I had to strip a lot of the stuff off. The motor was switched out. And I had to pull the motor out of it because it was too radical for the street.
Okay.
And I just stuck a new 360 created in there, which it still is for the CJ. It still runs wild. You know.
So tell me about the suspension and, well, the safety stuff first. That's not even, that's more than even a full cage. That's a
full wrap cage. You know, with the fuel cell that I created, built back then. Yeah, I mean, it's something that I got a lot of pride in from day one that I built that. So, and I finally brought it out into the public's eye after it being sitting around for many years.
So how long have you had it, like, back on the road?
I just in the past year, I just put it back on the road.
Oh, so it's one of the COVID projects that everybody did, where they were
more
like,
or less, yeah.
We're at home, let's get this thing done we haven't done for a while.
I had to strip a lot of stuff off of it and clean it up and repaint a few things, but yeah, what you see is with all the decals still left on it from back in 76, 77, 78.
Now
you can see the stickers, the entry stickers. There was one from the Baja on there. I don't know what, when it was stored for, you know, and I had two more on there from the Mint, but yeah, that was it was pretty exciting for me.
So what is now? Are those strange axles in the back there coming out? Like who's this? The axles, the four-wheel, like the axle in the back.
Those are the stock, not stock, but the rear ends and the suspension on it. There again, I dismantled the suspension because it was too rigid for on road. I had to.
So the original stuff is sitting in a garage somewhere.
It's sitting in the archives and you know, in case somebody comes along and wants to buy that, I got majority of what I took off.
Or if there's a day when you just want to restore it back to racing, you could do that, or sell it with.
That's kind of obsolete now, you know, compared to what they're running today.
No, I don't mean to race, but if it wanted to go to like an auto museum that was interested or something, it could be put back very easily to what it was.
It can be. I'd have to fabricate some of the stuff that I took off, and kind of moving from Illinois down to Florida, a lot of that got misplaced in the, you know, in the transit, whatever have you, but I can refabricate whatever.
So what's it running as a transmission and gears and stuff now?
It's running the 410 rear end Posi, which I got to change for on road. It's pretty tough to keep up with everybody, but it was designed for off road.
Right.
Trans is the it's got the hydro track in it.
Okay.
Still with you know, but yeah, I mean, it's somewhat stock, but it's not, you know, and being, you know, that's the original paint that I had on there from '76, obviously with the stickers and the pinstriping, and there's no rust on that. out for sale, and I had it there for about 2 days. I says, I built that damn thing. I says, I can't sell that. It's history of something that, all the, the hours that I spent in there, there's not enough money for that. Doing that. There's not. But yeah, no.
It's like the money you would get would not really replace just having the memory and everything sitting
And
there.
if you looked at it a little closer or whatnot, I rolled it twice, which obviously I survived. But that, building that cage and whatnot, it saved my life. Because I had a lot of confidence in my wallet. Let me put it that way. The fabricating.
And is that what you like? Is that what you do as a professional, or is that a hobby?
No, that was something that I what I end up doing in business and doing welding class in school, fabricating, and it really panned out and worked out for me.
Okay, so your hobby became your life, that became your job, or became your career?
Not knowing what direction back in high school, what I was going to do, and I ended up being in the construction business and having my own business of paving and concrete and whatnot. And I kind of did my own.
So it worked out.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is and it runs very well.
Well, it's pretty. I mean, it's pretty awesome. Like just looking, it's pretty intimidating when you walk up.
Again, there is no rust on that, and that's the original.
Well, at first I thought it was a fiberglass body because it has no rust and it's an old body style, and I thought maybe there's some fiberglass on it, but no, it's metal. That thing is metal.
It's solid, and but yeah, there's a lot of memories in that. I wish I had. Back then, I wish I had all the old style beer that we drank building that, but that was back in the day. Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Well, I so appreciate you letting us.
Thank you.
Take a look at it.
Anytime.
Yeah. So we'll see if we can't go and see who he was racing against back in the day. We'll do some archive work maybe and throw something in. April, should they subscribe to this channel even if they don't like cars today for this one?
Probably just for this one.